In the dusk hours of August 2, 2015, 911 dispatchers in Davidson County, North Carolina received a disturbing call from a man named Thomas Martins. "My son-in-law, got in a fight with my daughter. I intervened and he's in bad shape. We need help." "Okay. What do you mean he's in bad shape? Is he hurt?" "He's bleeding all over, and I may have killed him." Thomas Martins told the dispatcher that he hit Jason Corbett in the head with a baseball bat. He claimed that he did so in self-defense because Corbett was choking his daughter, Molly. When the dispatcher asked where the baseball bat was, Martins said it was in the bedroom with him and was instructed not to touch it anymore. When the paramedics arrived at the scene, they went to the master bedroom to find Tom and his daughter Molly Corbett performing CPR on Molly's husband Jason. The room was covered in red fluid. It was splashed all over the floor, walls, and furniture. Jason was on the floor without any clothes on. He showed no signs of life. Paramedics took over and tried to resuscitate Jason, but it was too late. They pronounced him lifeless. The most confusing information was found out by a crime scene investigator when he testified that there was blood on Jason Corbett's feet, hair under his fingernails, and an alleged mark on Molly Corbett's neck, all of which allegedly pointed to a struggle before dying. On the other hand, Molly Corbett did not exhibit visible choking marks on her body according to prosecution testimony. However, her defense presented evidence suggesting that she had scratches behind her ear, redness on her neck, and complained of difficulty swallowing and a sore throat. But how true were Molly's accusation? The dispatchers doubted it as she showed no signs of choking. What would have happened that night? Why was Jason Corbett killed by his father-in-law and wife? To find out, let's dive deep into their story. Molly Martins spent most of her life in the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. She has 3 brothers and was the only daughter in a family of 4 children. Her father Tom was retired after 30 years from working for the FBI, and her mother was a doctor of mathematics. They were highly educated and quite wealthy. In free time, Tom enjoyed coaching soccer for the local children's team. Molly loved singing and dancing with friends. She also liked to read as a teenager and would often share her opinions in her mother's book club. After high school, Molly decided to pursue a medical degree, enrolling at Clemson University in South Carolina. In 2003, Molly couldn't cope with pressure, as studying at a medical university was challenging for her. Around 2007, she dropped out of the university and began dating Keith Magin. After a few months of dating, they started living together. Molly began working as a nanny and also taught children to swim, and her boyfriend worked at a local nonprofit organization. The children loved Molly. She was fun, happy, and carefree. However, they both suffered from mental health issues. Molly had been previously diagnosed with depression and bipolar disorder and had warned Keith before. They were pretty good at first, then they started going downhill as Molly contracted Staphylococcus aureus. The medication for the infection seemed to block the effects of the medication for the bipolar disorder, which threw Molly out of her usual equilibrium. Keith mentions that it was a difficult time for Molly, as she suffered side effects of medications like migraines and insomnia. She had emotional episodes as she spent a lot of time soaking in the bathtub, sometimes just crying while lying there on the floor. At one point, Molly was taking 16 pills a day. Due to her condition, Molly discontinued. Keith was fully providing for them both, even though his income wasn't much. Since Molly's depression was going out of hand, Keith didn't know what was waiting for him at home. As time passed, things started getting better for Molly. She really wanted to take the next step in the relationship and wanted to get engaged to Keith. He took this step for her, thinking it would make her happy and might improve her condition, but he was wrong. It didn't help, and neither did her desire to have children. Molly suffered an early miscarriage in September 2007. The following February, there was no improvement in her condition, so Molly's parents paid for her stay in the psychiatric unit at Emory Hospital in Atlanta to stabilize her condition and get professional help. After 4 days, she returned home and they tried to continue living together. By the end of February, there was a rift in the couple's relationship as Molly wanted to go somewhere in Europe and work there as a live-in nanny. He didn't think it was a good idea, as she should go away, much less work with children, since she couldn't even go grocery shopping on her own. Molly left for Ireland and Keith never saw her again. Molly says that this babysitting job was very important as she suffered from feelings of inadequacy after leaving university and had lost as she didn't know who she was or who she wanted to be. She was fortunate to meet Jason, who helped her come to her senses and realize her importance in caring for his children, Jack and Sarah. However, Molly missed her native land, so after her engagement she proposed to Jason to marry in America and move there. He agreed. According to Jason's sister, Tracy, the Molly they knew in Ireland was starkly different from the one they encountered in the United States. During a visit from relatives in Ireland for the wedding ceremony, Molly's behavior raised red flags. She displayed controlling tendencies, frequent bouts of anger, and exhibited signs of withdrawal, often retreating to bed and avoiding social interaction. This behavior left Jason's family questioning whether he should proceed with the marriage. Even his best friend witnessed Jason's unhappiness and suggested he leave and return to Ireland. However, Jason felt bound by his commitment. As time passed, Molly grew close to Jason's children, considering them her own. However, her relationship with Jason deteriorated. In 2014, Jason expressed a desire to return home to Ireland, citing unhappiness, weight gain, and dissatisfaction with their home life. This news distressed Molly, especially as Jason's children referred to her as Mom. However, Jason resisted allowing Molly to become their legal guardian, fearing it would weaken his legal standing in a potential custody battle. Molly eventually confided in friends about alleged abuse by Jason, prompting neighbors to scrutinize his behavior. Despite Molly's claims, there was no visible evidence supporting her allegations. Testimonies from numerous sources indicated a lack of physical injuries or signs of abuse on Molly, who appeared unfazed and unafraid of Jason. In contrast, Jason was described as friendly, outgoing, and generous, leading some to question the validity of Molly's allegations and suspect her of embellishing the truth to garner sympathy. On the 2nd of August, still clad in her pajamas following a heated altercation in the bedroom, Molly cooperated with detectives and detailed allegations of abuse by Jason. She disclosed having sought medical attention multiple times for injuries sustained during these incidents but never divulged their origin. Molly described her husband as verbally and emotionally abusive, acknowledging sporadic apologies that offered fleeting hope for improvement in their relationship. However, the cycle of abuse persisted, escalating with each occurrence. Despite the turmoil, Molly's deep affection for Sarah and Jack prevented her from considering leaving Jason. Molly admitted to withholding information about Jason's abuse due to concerns about her legal standing regarding the children, who were not her biological offspring and lacked U.S. citizenship. Acting on her attorney's advice, she resorted to using concealed recording devices to document instances of abuse. While many recordings were lost or destroyed, those that remained were handed over to prosecutors as evidence. For instance, one recording captured an incident in late December 2013 when Jason returned home intoxicated and attempted to gain entry, prompting a confrontation with Molly. The recording captured Jason's angry outbursts and mocking tone towards Molly, who pleaded and sobbed in response, portraying a pattern of escalating conflict and blame-shifting within their relationship. For days after Jason's demise, state authorities interviewed his children, 10-year-old Jack and 8-year-old Sarah, on 2 occasions under the supervision of an authorized social worker. During these interviews, the children recounted their father's aggressive behavior, ongoing marital discord, and allegations of verbal, emotional, and physical abuse. Of particular significance was the children's recognition and understanding of these issues, with Sarah explaining how Molly refrained from disturbing Jason to avoid his wrath, illustrating a household environment fraught with tension and fear. Jack had witnessed his father using physical force on 1 or 2 occasions, prompting the social worker to ask a crucial question about external influence on their statements. Sarah responded, revealing that their mother had instructed them to speak only the truth. Several years prior, Jason had designated Tracy as the legal guardian of his children in the event of his demise, anticipating Molly's resistance to relinquishing custody. Tracy swiftly traveled to North Carolina and petitioned for custody, a move mirrored by Molly herself. 16 days after Jason's passing, Tracy became the guardian of Jack and Sarah, leading to their relocation to Ireland in January 2016. Molly was subsequently charged with second-degree murder alongside Tom in July 2017. The prosecution presented a narrative devoid of strangulation and self-defense, instead relying heavily on forensic evidence, including photographs revealing the extent of Jason's injuries. The pathologist's report indicated that Jason had sustained at least 12 blows to the head, resulting in severe bruising and fractures consistent with trauma from a significant height or vehicular accident. A blood spatter expert testified that Jason had been struck while sedated and that his head had been lifted approximately 30 to 45 centimeters off the floor during the assault. Further incriminating evidence included changes to Jason's $600,000 insurance policy, naming Molly as the sole beneficiary. Photos taken of Tom and Molly on the night of the incident revealed no signs of physical altercation, raising doubts about their claims of self-defense. During the trial, the issue of domestic violence was inadequately addressed, with minimal discussion of Jason's alleged abusive behavior. Tom testified to witnessing bruises on Molly's body but admitted to never witnessing physical aggression from Jason except on the night of August 2nd. Molly defended herself by pointing to a photograph taken 2 weeks prior to the incident, showing a red mark on her neck consistent with strangulation. She argued that incidents like August 2nd were not uncommon in their relationship, attributing the presence of her father in the house that night as the only distinguishing factor. Despite these arguments, the prosecution successfully secured convictions for both Tom and Molly, leading to their sentencing for the voluntary manslaughter of Jason Corbett. Jason underwent a routine physical examination where the doctor noted signs of recent stress and complaints of uncontrollable outbursts of anger. The autopsy revealed defensive marks on Jason's left arm, indicating potential self-defense, but none on his right arm, which was allegedly used to hold Molly by the neck. Following 9 days of testimony, arguments, and the presentation of photos from the scene of the tragedy, the jury deliberated for less than 5 hours before finding both Tom and Molly guilty. They were sentenced to 20 to 25 years in prison, and the court ruled on their convictions shortly after the verdicts were announced. Subsequently, the lawyers filed an objection to the court's decision, citing judicial errors and incorrect actions by the jury. One juror's interview with journalists, discussing the case in private conversations, raised concerns about procedural violations. However, the court denied the motion. In January 2019, the appeals court allowed only oral arguments in Molly and Tom's case, without the defendants present in the courtroom. The North Carolina Court of Appeals reversed their convictions on February 4, 2020, ordering a new trial due to errors in excluding evidence suggesting Jason's potential violence toward Molly during the first trial. Despite a challenge from the state, the North Carolina Supreme Court upheld the appellate court's decision, acknowledging flaws in the trial that may have hindered Tom and Molly from presenting a full defense. Consequently, Molly and Tom spent 44 months in prison before being released on $200,000 bail each in April 2021. It's noteworthy that both Jack and Sarah, in interviews shortly after their father's death, recanted their earlier statements, claiming they were coerced by Molly into fabricating accusations of domestic abuse. They revealed to the Davidson County District Attorney's Office that Molly had forced them to lie, stating that she was the one who had been abusive. In November 2023, a new trial was held, resulting in Molly Martin and her father Thomas being sentenced to a minimum of 7 months in prison for the voluntary manslaughter of Jason Corbett. This sentence was in addition to the 3.5 years they had already served after their previous murder conviction. What do you think? Did Tom and Molly receive the right punishment? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.